So hello and welcome to this week's Tech Plugged In. So this week we are going to be taking a look at AMD Ryzen and its market share increase over Intel, AMD's next plans for Zen 5, next gen Threadripper and EPYC CPUs, Intel's CEO talking about how their 10nm delay is due to aggressive design, Amazon's Prime Day sales despite a strike, ASRock launching a new AMD Radeon 5700 and ditching the reference cooler, and finally Apple releasing public betas of iOS 13, iPadOS, macOS Catalina and tvOS 13. So first up, it looks like Germany isn't the only market where AMD is starting to do far better than it used to be, as reports from major Asian-based retailers are showing a similar trend for Ryzen processors, which are now gaining far more popularity than Intel's core lineup, so the i3, i5, i7, i9. So in major Asian markets, according to Danawa Research, which is run by Danawa, which is one of the largest retailers in South Korea, the volume of AMD Ryzen CPUs sold exceeds that of Intel Core Series CPUs just a few days after the launch of the Ryzen 3000 chips. Starting Monday the 8th of July, as soon as the market opened, AMD's sales witnessed a huge jump of nearly 50% versus 28% the day before. So not only that, but the research firms also shared statistical figures which show the number of clicks on their retail outlet for each brand. So same results reported with more users now searching for and looking into the AMD lineup. So recently, AMD launched their 7nm based Zen 2 CPUs, but it looks like they're already looking far into the future, and their development on their post-2020 architecture is already underway. So we already know about Zen 3 and Zen 4 off of slides, which stated that their Zen 3 would be on 7nm plus and is currently on track, whilst Zen 4 is in the design phase. Zen 5 is possibly expected to be on the 5nm node, dubbed N5. It would give large benefits such as a 80% increase in transistor density, 15% in overall performance, and a 45% reduction in die area. So this would put these chips on track to be more power efficient and possibly keep ahead of the curve when compared to Intel's lineup. Now, Zen 5 has been confirmed in another way, as David Suggs, who is the CPU microarchitect at AMD, who was the chief architect for Zen 2, has now had put on his bio experience, stating that he is also going to be the chief architect for Zen 5. So we hope that these chips will obviously be better and keep the competitive edge going with Intel without pulling ahead too far, to keep the competition in the market space that we've been experiencing recently. So we are currently expecting this to be in 2022/2023 and will be based on an optimized 5nm processor, as I stated earlier, and we will get another breakthrough in the fact that while Intel would still be relying on in-house 7nm, AMD will be on TSMC's 5nm. Now, Intel could blame their recent CPU shortages on many different things. Delays in introduction of 10 nanometers, underestimation of sales of PCs, and desire to focus more on their enterprise market, all contributed to their supply issues. However, the CEO of Intel, Robert Swan, has added another factor to that list, which is how aggressive they decided to be with their 10 nanometer design goals. So reportedly told attendees at an event that the delay was because of the fact that they are attempting to, quote, defy the odds, and when they're making it harder and harder, setting more and more aggressive goals. So they have basically been trying to squeeze more performance from the silicon and squeezing more money out of it. So these setbacks have obviously delayed the 10 nanometer node, which along with the large demand meant that Intel lost market share in several markets. So laptop markets, Chromebook markets, and enthusiasts all started buying AMD CPUs when Intel's CPU shortage showed signs of not stopping anytime soon. So now that AMD has managed to get a hold on those markets, it wouldn't be surprising if we start getting Intel models of products and AMD models. So Intel's processor shortage has affected a large amount of the industry too, as it has affected sales in many device categories. So Swan has apologised to the company's partners in April, saying that they have committed to never again be a constraint on customers. So he's reportedly said he wants to pull the company together via more truth and transparency. So Intel has said that they expect their CPU shortage to end in the third quarter of 2019, and other outlets report that it may improve as early as June. So we hope that this will keep the competitive edge going in the market, as this will obviously bring prices down for us and increase innovation in this market space. So now just a quick story about Amazon. So they've Prime Day 2019, according to them, puts up the greater sale numbers than what it saw in the last year's Black Friday and Cyber Monday combined, and they're calling the 2-day period the largest shopping event in Amazon history. So obviously Prime Day is around for less time than other things such as Black Friday and Cyber Monday. However, there have been new records set across pretty much every metric that Amazon decided to share. So there were an increase in Prime sign-ups. This may be due to people using the trials to get free shipping. Shoppers from 18 countries participating, selling more of their own Amazon Basics style lineup, and $1 billion being saved on 175 million items. So there were large tech sales numbers, such as over 1,000 laptops, over 100,000 laptops, 200,000 TVs, and 1 million headphones purchased in the US. In the UK, for a bit of nostalgia, the PlayStation Classic was the most purchased product, was one of the most popular products. So we've obviously also had members purchasing Alexa devices and making savings. Now, one thing that the CEO of Amazon did underline was the fact that they more than £2 billion worth of products was bought from independent and small and medium-sized businesses. Now, this is partially due to the fact that they want to show the EU that they are not stifling competition, and so they do not get a rather large fine. Now, there is also another thing about this that is interesting, that these numbers come despite the fact that Amazon workers went on strike during Prime Day over working conditions. Now, this has obviously dispelled all doubts that Amazon couldn't pull off a successful Prime Day, and has not stopped Amazon from selling a very, very large amount of products on Prime Day 2019. ASRock has now announced the first fully custom RX 5700 series graphics cards. So this is a new series by them which is called the Challenger series, and they have got a dual fan design as opposed to the design that was used by AMD, which was obviously the blower cooler. So both these cards have the same cooler and so look very much the same. However, the core specs different due to them being different cards. So obviously the specs are the same as the reference model, except with slight bumps to clock speed. Now finally, Apple has released public beta number 3 of iPadOS and more. So we obviously have these builds, and the beta testing program allows you to test these builds. So for those who have signed up, you will get iOS 13 beta 3 over the air, and etc. So the main interesting thing is iPadOS. So iPadOS is quite similar to iOS 13, except in the fact that it allows more multitasking and features and more. So there are obviously also the macOS Catalina public betas that were released with more additions. So these come with both functionality and security updates. And you also have the public beta of tvOS. So this hasn't got any stated upgrades, but you can bet it'll come with things such as performance increases and possibly improved launch times, as with most iOS updates. So there are obviously more things that may be done, but as these have only recently come out, not many people have had chance to test them yet. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please feel free to like this video if you enjoyed it, dislike if you didn't, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to see more content like this.